Hello folks, I better get moving, and before I just do this stuff, sorry, I'm not gonna take time to satisfy anybody in front of the computer. I do have to be quite active to keep it up with my health concerns, so let's do it like this. Probably a lot of people would say, right now, this is important video. No, it's not important. Important is as much as you can afford. Health is more important than important, whatever is important to whoever. I sacrificed myself, destroyed myself to satisfy your appetites, people, and got really fucked in between. You're supporting psychiatrist Peter Kapshin police in crime against me. Does make me feel to make sure that on the first place is health, then it's everything else. This I'm going to just give you a glimpse of Novo Mesto, company called INQUIRED, right here in the Novo Mesto. This is nothing significant. Look how slow this shit is. I mean, this is, wow. Check this out. This is unbelievable. Wow. Unbelievable. Really unbelievable it is. That's how fast this is. It's like totally knocking me off. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do here, and I'm gonna enter. I saw that 1979. I was born in 1971. I thought it's quite impressive, actually, and that's why I'm gonna do this stuff. This is very much important for me to demonstrate to you. I see they don't have that stuff. You see these machines right there. A big pressure. It's called pressure. Not this, but what is the matter with these guys here? No. Yeah. I find it bizarre, this stuff here. Really. What's the matter with this stuff here? Where is what it should be? You know, Renault 4 was here produced in the quantities. From the beginning, not in such as big numbers, but with my arrival on the picture, with the huge numbers, with the best machines possible, since Citroën in a copper built and started to invest in Yugoslavia. Krka Pharmaceutical grew up from nothing into giant factory today. This is here in Slovenia. In Bosnia, in Sarajevo, they opened TAS. They opened Tvornica Automobilov Sarajevo, where they produced a buggy, Volkswagen buggy. But through my case, they got the manufacturing ability to produce Volkswagen Golf, and that was the best car ever produced in Eastern Europe. German Volkswagen Golf, that's right. I thought it would be interesting to see it, and more important, I like what is written on the machines. with a big letters, because I'm coming from the part of the country where people did some really very bad stuff to me. I was gonna say where people are hateful, where people are shit that they just okay, you know. So what I'm gonna do is this stuff here like this. I think that they're cheating me a little bit. Yeah, they are hiding very important they place the trash bins here behind our house, and that stuff is being used to intimidate and to trash all the time by the neighbors. Add-on, sign in, find, page, desktop, yeah, desktop site. Are we gonna get some final information that actually matters, or still nothing? I guess that I'm gonna try in a pristine Slovenian language to see. Okay. Okay, there you go. Maybe it's here. People are really hateful. Now, hatred is, they say it's ignorance, it's that kind of stuff, but in this case, it's not. In this case, it's a national character, Slovenian national character, a character of Trobec. His name was a Trobec. That was a serial killer that killed a lot of people. And if he wasn't for the wrong side he was on, he would be probably doing just really great, politically talking. Shit, it says here, beginnings. Let's see if we're gonna see anything. I had a guy, co-worker my age, 2 years, it was Mushkon. He purchased this kind of vehicle they produced before I came to reality, and he would purchase this kind of car with idea to retaliate against me. He claimed that he wanted the car that would be the one that would not remind him of me. I think also a good reminder for me. I'm gonna write down here the German word. It's called Müller. I'm sure that you can recognize that this is German enough for me to prove the point. Big fucking Presche, Druckmaschine in German, which they don't show up anymore. They don't show up, but I'm gonna post you under the video. Giant machine, giant machines. Müller. Something like this they got in 1979. They got incredible. Oh, there you go. This is priceless. There you go. Müller. There you go. Presche, né? This is what they got to know. in 1979 here it was not Renault at the time, it was just the IMV, the industry of the motor vehicle Novo Mesto. It was known, and they started to produce Renault 5 and so on. Basically, French gave everything they possibly could. Tito was actually became a really big boss like never before, and it was not in 1979. I was born in 1971, so maybe 6, 7, 8 months down the road, 1 year after my birth, the industry in Slovenia exploded. What the Slovenian government did was, with this zakrknjena narave, with this treacherous, murderous character that has in it, talking about people that make the difference, about local government, talking about government in Ljubljana, talking about also Belgrade, because this was a part of the greater Serbian Chetnik state. What they made sure is, because the intention was to get me killed. I did talk to you about this video already yesterday. The children, when I was 1 year old, 2 years old, I would have people that were already interested in getting me killed here in Slovenia. I already got promises, I got visits from the Serbs, neighbors, officers that would come to pay visits, and they were pretty damn sure that I will be dead sooner than not. They were pretty damn sure that I will be dead no matter what. I demonstrated to those that were the same size like myself or bigger, a teeth like nobody ever did. And to the grown-ups, to adults, 20, 30, 40, 50 years old, 60, whatever, I show them how much a baby can be brazen, how much the terror of the adults can be worth nothing if you try to impose one on me. And I, as I'm going to explain later on, started to enforce the fall of the Yugoslavia and started to enforce foremost the fall of the Soviet Union through my attitude. I am going to be touching today the World War II issues, but it doesn't have anything to do with the World War II. This case pertains to me. But I am going to be heavily touching World War II issues. I already mentioned how Angela Merkel smuggled people with my assistance from Eastern Germany to the Western Germany. I did spoke about this stuff. Yesterday I posted a beautiful video, a gorgeous video I posted yesterday. Let's see how the weather, it's not going to give me. A beautiful video I posted, how it was when it comes to the luggage, when it comes to myself, how big I was. And there was a very, very important issue that played inside of MK Ultra, for which they also claimed me that okay, we're gonna allow that stuff. I didn't know it's gonna ask me that stuff, but okay, if it's gonna play me, right? Money Deutschmarks from Eastern Germany. It was enough to fill the coffer. You could throw me inside of that luggage, just as I stated yesterday. So we have this here. We have.
Hey,
I have a gift for you.
oh, me too. I have a 24-hour Slovenian ration for you.
I have one ration or one meal.
Is it good?
It's fantastic. Yeah, I think you're gonna like it. So the favorite thing to eat is the matches. We always start off eating the match. So we have.
I was like, what?
So we have some matches, and we have.
What is this?
This is beef jerky. It's
Oh
like
my God, I
dried.
haven't tried.
You can see that she's doing a lot of YouTube and stuff like that. This video is repeated. This was already rehearsed. I don't know if she was a soldier back then or not.
Yeah?
Oh yeah, you don't like spice, right?
Not too much.
So now you have to try the Tabasco.
A little.
A little.
Yeah. This is first time.
First time?
Yeah, trying Tabasco, so.
Oh really?
Yeah.
She's trying the Tabasco first time. But she knows how to say, I was like. Okay, I'm not a fan of hypocrisy. Basically,
Some water here.
it's still working, eh?
No Tabasco.
No Tabasco.
Okay,
And which one's this again?
maybe we're gonna try now. The girl and man you see right there, a Canadian and Slovenian girl, were involved in MK Ultra exactly with the issues like this. It's gonna be to help me out, to assist me with identifying them. I just thought about the children right now because I was gonna say fuck you. That's what I was gonna do. I can still say that because the children, this is for the children. Children have to learn how to survive in this cruel world. It's cruel. This world is cruel. But yeah, I am gonna be watching my language. I am not, I no longer am willing to sit and do videos for you guys. Fuck this, because you disappointed me tremendously with bullshit like I demonstrated you now. You screwed me up tremendously. What a beautiful day it is. Look at that. Isn't it beautiful? Sunny, nice. There you go. We go out and I go for a walk. I get something out of it. If you watched, you watched. If not, who cares? First is my health. I should have already prioritized before. Still, better than never or better than nothing. I don't know if I'm gonna make it with this stuff through or not. Health-wise, how this is gonna be. My mother already placed some pills over there to remind me that I'm gonna have to eat a lot of pills. However, she stated under MK Ultra it's not gonna be for psychiatry. Who knows what the hell is gonna be for diabetes, liver, kidney, pancreas, whatever. The shit that you have seen right there is what it does, stuff like this. These are the children killers that you have just watched right there. Yesterday I talked to you about how it was growing up in Slovenia. I talked to you about my childhood, what that looked like when I had adults come in my face and insist on me for no matter what, no matter how. Talking about the military officers. I would not survive. I would not make it.
Since my childhood, since I was since I got into the face of adults and I stood up, because I couldn't go and punch the shit out of them, they were too big, but I didn't take any from those that were my size. If I would be Serb, I would be president of Russia today, not Serbia. But because obviously I'm from Slovenia, things turned out different. To be honest with you, for me, the nationality really, from my point of view, didn't make any difference really. If anything, I was a gypsy without any homeland that fit inside of the luggage case, the size of the one they threw the money inside when they smuggled people from Eastern Germany to Western Germany. This is what I was. As for the nationality, I told you that they got on the children, and I got people claiming me in my face at age 1 year of age that they will, no matter what, they will kill me. And today somebody called on the phone and stated they are from European Commission. I have all audio recorded this stuff. Actually not from European Commission, but they called on behalf of European Commission that they are doing research on how the public services are and stuff like this. It needs somebody like a head of the family, someone willing to take responsibility for conversation, wherever, and such as stuff. Once I asked the lady on behalf of which European Commission, if she can give me a department, she would not want to answer the questions, and I asked her for those 10 minutes which she demanded from me if she's gonna pay me, what she also declined. And so I told her that for the Milan Kuchan, to throw time away, I don't have a time. Basically, the children that were exposed to third of the violence I endured, probably half of the time, if not even more, found themselves on a graveyard. And so this morning I told the lady, I told her, since you don't pay anything, I don't have a time for you, goodbye. Actually, I even asked her, she had no answer. I asked her, I said, how do you dare to call people like this at all? Then I said to myself, you know, the phone calls like this are not going to make you guys any difference. The only difference that would do to you right now is going on the graveyards and to start to dig the little graves where the children my size were thrown inside, because parents, rather than to face difficulties with their children, schooling and everything, they got a state assistance to get the children like myself murdered. So they will just throw them and fill them with with the ground, buried them, and never spoke about it. This is this city here, Novo Mesto. I'm afraid there is grave like this everywhere in the world. It's not only here, but when I stated earlier about this Slovenian character, national character of Trobec, basically it really is. I protested against Štefančić, who had a problem with the Slovenian character because he wanted to play one down as much as possible for the sake of the big Serbia. But now I agree with absolutely everything he stated. Štefančić was so afraid of me. This is a film critic who was involved in this case and knows absolutely everything about my case, was involved in my case since my childhood. He was so afraid of me that even his own videos, everything he stated about Slovenian national character in respect to Trobec, absolutely everything he had removed from the internet, so the people no longer would have access, because he started to see himself in the mirror for what he was. He couldn't handle the truth anymore. He was quite violent back in his day, but the truth eventually got to him, and he started to realize that people are watching. I don't think that he took for better, because, or let's say Matjaž Berger, a cousin from my neighbor Berger family, from two brothers, that's also a film producer in Slovenia, because the people like this don't have any conscience. And when I said the people like this don't have any conscience, watch out, you're gonna see how I'm gonna end this video with what I'm gonna tell you about this at the end of this video, how I'm gonna end one. Nobody has it, really. I have a feeling in Slovenia nobody has any fucking conscience. It's not the feeling. I'm almost 52. It's a fact. 51 years existence of MK Ultra case proves the point. No further explanation is necessary when it comes to these things. So I would say to our children, I would say, watch out for yourself, because nobody else will. I'm afraid this is not pertaining to Slovenia only. That's that other part. The stuff that I tested upon the fall of the Soviet Union, it made me think twice about really setting aside these Slovenian politicians who were doing their best for me to hate West and for me to basically hate one based on politicians from the West that got involved in it and would take their side, sharing, basically placing themselves in front of the crime they committed, or using the agencies even such as Amnesty International, foremost United Nations, to enforce genocide against me. World is a brutal place. When I was age 6, I was treated as if I was, well, when I was age 6, if you really wonder about whether I knew Angela Merkel personally when I was 6 months old, Angela Merkel was the one who was the advocate who claimed that because I had people who speak the Slovenian language But it was Angela Merkel who demanded for these people to not even no longer be present. Therefore, I had the police translators with me, even as a 6-month baby. That the translators are not necessary. And the truth is that at 6 months of age, it was a time that I pick up the German like my mother language just by listening Germans around me. It became, once I would get to the Germany, it became part of me. I understood German much more than what Angela Merkel believed, who, by the way, claimed that little babies don't need no translators, they don't need anybody next to them, because they can hear, they can listen, and they learn so fast just by listening that they understand everything. And my German was at one point in time, I know for sure, outstanding. My German was, when I was probably like a year and a half old, 2 years, I don't know. I understood pretty much everything, more than what I could signal them, whatever. I understood everything, what they talked in German language, what they communicated and stuff like this. I started to understand very good, better and better. The thing is that those were MK Ultra sessions, which Soviet Union financed, paid for. Yugoslavia, Josip Broz Tito paid for. I'm sure you heard about the Kurt Waldheim. That's a notorious Nazi who was involved, managed to stay at the United Nations, and with the Tito's permission, Josip Broz Tito and so on, nobody touched him, nothing, nobody touched him, anything. There were circles, rounds of people that were in a completely different world than what you people can possibly imagine is possible. I was in a completely different world with the diplomats, with the presidents, with royalties, prime ministers. If it was a prime minister, it was a time I would already started to look down on him. Yeah, exactly what I stated to you. Not that I was a spoiled baby or anything like this. I was the man, when I was 2 years old, more intelligent than any German politician, more knew about what I want than anybody in Germany, anybody in Britain, anybody in the United States of America, anybody in the world for that matter. I was the one that gave the signal like this to Josip Broz Tito for the Sophia Loren. Sophia Loren was outstanding lady. You have no idea how much misery she saved me in Belgrade. I was the one who presidents would ask what I think about the watch, what I think about the car, what I think about this, what I think about their women, wives, or their girlfriends, whatever on the side. And I told you, they insisted I don't need no translator. I told you that well, what I'm trying to say to you is, there are two things I'm saying to you right now. I'm saying to you right now, it was something that was worth to live for, based on reality, basically MK Ultra reality, and when I was a baby, and then there was this terror behind all this, that for which I struggle to be alive every minute of my life. For instance, the stuff I have stated to you a little earlier was the stuff that questioned whether I'm going to even live to the age 3 years of age, or 4 years of age, or 5 years of age, or 6 years of age. It was what I tried to say when I entered the grammar school. I was so crazy about entering grammar school because it was so much violence in the kindergarten. I hated violence. And once I entered the grammar school and they lined us up, and it was this 2 years, 3 years older boy that would come, a much bigger guy, next to everybody, and would go and he would be pushing everyone, and everybody complied, and like in a military, you know, at age 6, you know, and he would come to me and he would push me, and I did not push him anything back because I did not know what went on, because he was doing this to everybody. So first, before you would do something like this, you would have to know what is happening on the first day of a grammar school. Teachers were present and they were not present. There was Mr. Schleipach, and I did not know what is it that this guy wants from me. And he would make another round, and on another round he wouldn't push anybody, he would only push me. And that's when I basically grab him and I pummel him a little bit on the floor. And then it was, it's you. I was like, excuse me, what? And all the children, it was you, it's you. I did not understand. I barely saved myself from the kindergarten, and I have fallen into another hellhole, basically. Well, the thing is that the third factor that applied to me, I did not mention one, finally started to apply to me. That was the factor that started to endanger in a real time. That was not under MK Ultra, but this one was in a real time. So we have two factors. One suggesting me, well, you know, like in that song, Americano, whatever. You can be anything. You can be a president, you can be whatever the fuck you want to be. You can be a space astronaut, or anything you can be. Anything you want to be in this world. The second one, I am going to go, like I stated, I'm going to investigate the graves in the area here to record young children's deaths in the era I'm referring to, the burials of the children that they didn't want to maintain, help them out, and they rather got rid of them. Something that psychiatrist Peter Kapsch, police already have done it. I have to warn you about. Stuff I'm talking about today was used as an intimidation, which did not intimidate me because I had absolutely nothing to do with it. And very soon we will know whether it was also used to get Ukraine completely destroyed, or was it used for Ukraine to get additional help. Ukraine receives, at least that's what they try to portray, demonstrate, like whenever I would suggest the news that was something involved in MKUltra, for which all the sides agreed to it, it's going to be the case. Everything is going to go through. That was like an 8 package to Ukrainians they would do. Whenever I would reveal something like I'm going to reveal about today, that's what the Russian side had to sign. Everybody signed that stuff. You would say, no, don't say this stuff. This shit is in a contract. They made a contract with one another. So I don't know about what this contracts are going to bring to either of the sides. I don't like being in a situation like this. I told you I would, if I could, I would rip apart Joe Biden and Zelensky. Don't understand me. Don't get me wrong. I got nothing to do with it. I'm 52, and I'm being used as a hostage, basically, of the politic. I have nothing to do with it, really, other than my being from a place which historically, just like the people in Ukraine or Poland or Slovakia or Czech Republic, was assaulted, abused, tortured by Russians. That's all I have. Basically, coming from the place where historically looking, part of the Europe, I should say, because the western part of the Europe was not exposed to the Soviet assaults, you know, Italy, France, and you know, Britain. They were busy with other issues. I'm gonna say to the Eastern Europeans, luckily also for us, hopefully. Luckily, if you're gonna use properly your knowledge of the politic, and if they wouldn't have used that, we would be the same like people are in Russia, basically. I should say were in Russia, because Russia has this system that is raising people. Is a country that is based on a genocide. They erase nations in the Russia. They do the bad stuff and populate with whatever deemed as Russian, whatever that is. I don't know. For me, Russia is just a really beautiful place with the beautiful females that pertain into the white and to the Asian mixed culture, and also to somewhat to Mid-Eastern. This is Russia for me. For me, Russia is diversity, beauty is, and then the poverty and everything that is misery that is imposed on the people in Russia. This is basically a choice that Russian people have taken, a course of their lives, a choice that they have taken. Maybe if this evil will be removed, and maybe the freedom is going to come to Russia, and you know, good things can happen for the Russian people, hopefully, so for everybody, so equally that people can enjoy, really enjoy such a, you know, beautiful place, big country, rather than to if anybody can even understand what's happening with the war and the people of Ukraine, if anybody can come to terms, probably it's myself, and I don't even understand what the fuck is going on with this madness from Kremlin. So this third factor, which I mentioned, truly exploited my ability of survival on a long term. And for that matter, I found one extremely disturbing, troubling. It totally angers me. Well, I am incompliant with one. That boy, you enter the fucking grammar school and you're happy like a clown, and you're asking how it's going to be the next year, if it's going to be easier while you're being stabbed with injections, assaulted by 30 children per day, if not 60 children, if not 100 children per day. I'm not exaggerating, folks. It was times when I would have the whole class going against me, against one and stuff like that. I'm not kidding about this stuff. And you don't even dare to think about vacation, that it's going to be a 2 months of vacation that it will come. Do you understand? You are completely in your own world, because if you would think about the vacations, you're going to have a 2 months of vacation, you would go insane, because you would start to count days and stuff like this, which they did to drive me insane. All kinds of stuff like this they did. Well, when the teachers tell you all the time that asking your schoolmates what you're going to be by profession, and you ended up with saying them that you're going to work in a mine digging the coal or whatever the fuck it is, the dirtiest job possible. You ever heard about a child that would be in the 2nd grade of grammar school, 3rd grade of the grammar school, and he would say to you, next to others that want to be doctors, and I don't know what that they want to be, that then he would be saying to you as a teacher that he just wants to go and dig the fucking main hole or swap the road, public road. Basically, he wants to be a cleaner of the street. Did you have anybody like this? Well, I was the one like this. I was the child like this. This is what I was like. And despite violence, despite everything they did to me, I still attended the school, and I was not a dropout in anything like this. And they did damage me with what they created. Was a special examination that requires certain grade in physics and in a math when I entered school for mechanical engineering technician, and did manage to play me down to basically complete the school for mechanic. But then again, I played them down because I completed something that nobody ever did in the history of this Yugoslavia, and did bit 6 exams during the final year to jump over back into the regular program for mechanical engineering technician and shit like this. It was stuff like this that went on. However, whatever started with what I stated to you, that's why it's a wide video, because it needs to be wide. This is a historical video. It's not hysterical as police officers abuse me on a million occasions. But it's historical. They all the time went on and punching me. Hysterical. The stuff they did on me, you had exactly less than any chance to survive. Brainwash, abuse, what went on in respect to the stuff that I endured during NAZIS by the police, how they enforced torture, psychological torture like this during the hiking and stuff like this. Every minute they spent with me, what the fuck went on with these people. See, the thing about it is that if you're a child and you watch this, in this bloody world where the regulations are created, politically correct world as they refer to one as, and I do not side with Donald Trump in absolutely any way. I don't need to, for one thing. And the second thing is, he threw his own people under the train, and the values that he represents, the third, I don't see myself in any way in them. So I got no reason for that stuff. I'm just saying politically correct world. It's basically politically correct world in which people create their own rules inside of their heads based on which they perceive the life as. It could be whatever it is that you are, you're watching this here. Yeah, but if you would be a colorblind, you would see different color. If it would be drugged up, you could see the whole thing blurry. If you would be whatever you would be, it's what adults are. You would see things surreal because of your own picture that you create inside of your head. Now, as a child, I have to warn you about this stuff. If you're watching this as a child, adults have created certain rules based on which, if you ever find yourself in a situation where you're being told something that obviously is not true, you're being told something that obviously doesn't have much to do with reality, the perception that we create in our heads is what I'm trying to say. It's going to be very difficult for you to escape from such a circle. And if you find it difficult to escape from such a circle, you're going to have to invest extra in your life. You are going to have to basically dump absolutely everything that otherwise would pertain to what you might see as a form of freedom, and we'll have to pursue heavily then education, basically everything, whatever they consider in a world as normal. That's exactly what you will have to do to protect yourself, because when they start to demand from you for you to see I don't know what here that doesn't exist, or the color of this tree says whatever, or this tree, let's say, bent this way and that one that way or whatever, they're testing your sanity. They are going to be playing with your sanity, and the more credentials that you have based on which you can like this, rest yourself, lean against, support yourself is what I'm trying to say, the better you're going to be off. The worst that you can do is continue your vision as it is, and that's exactly what I did. Second to whatever they demand from you, a second. Basically the worst thing you can do is to continue as it is, and the worst, actually the second worst, is for you to adjust yourself to their views, to their ideas. It's better to adjust yourself, actually second. Second in a sense of the worst that can happen to you, whether you're destroyed, it's better for you to adjust yourself to their vision, to their views, and play along as required, whatever is going to come out of you. But stuff like this, I'm afraid, which I tested myself. I did try to get a camouflage paint on me and disappear in a crowd. Did not work. It's not guaranteed. So that's what I stated to you earlier about the education, about the standards that are universally embraced within the society. That's a strong beginning, especially if you're going to launch a complaint one day or something like this. If you feel that's going to be really, really handy. It's nothing more that the Russian government apparatus hates more than you're being educated. Let's say, I'm just saying. It's not about the Russian only, it's whatever you are. It could be the same in London, and it could be the same in New York, or whatever place on the planet. When you see issues like this, know that the more you're going to collect recognitions that apply universally to society, the more the rest of the society is going to see themselves in you. There are such a times now that in certain parts of the world it's difficult to even exist, and degrees, diplomas, if you already have to even immigrate to get it done somewhere, are definitely worth investment for you, for your future, and so on. The world have changed enormously. What used to be taken for granted now became a scarce. It's becoming more and more scarce luxury. Basically, it's not anymore what it used to be. Yeah. So I'm just saying this. You know, if you're a child, I'm just giving you child. I mean, if you're a teenager, whatever you are, you might be. The trouble is the last thing you need. You don't want to get into the trouble. This is like, once you get into the trouble, you just open the opportunity, the world of those that are trying to rip you apart, destroy you. You basically multiply the chances for you being destroyed. Better school, whatever it is that you are, or Brazil, or whatever it is that you are, better school for you than something that you give a chance to get rid of you, basically. Always better. I thought this would be important. I stated on my news site I was the youngest politician ever, 2 years old. When I was 2 years old, on my blog I stated I was 2 years old when I became politician. Such a politician that the Germans started to learn from it. Learn from. Such a politicians that royals, British royals, as always, became envious of it and were foremost trying to destroy me with introducing an MK Ultra enormous amount of torture and imitating Russians during the torture, together with the Slovenian police, which would escort me absolutely wherever the hell I would go, translators. So I just want you to understand, just trying to make sure that you understand what I'm talking about. I'm not going to say sense, but that you understand that stuff I'm talking about is on a firm ground. The contract they had with the Soviet Union, that's one thing, and then you have envy that pertain to the special interests, therefore to the royals. The two are not the same. The post-World War II order agreement was one thing about the cooperation, special interests. However, there was again something else that had other interests. Those are the people that feel like the conquerors of the world. And as I stressed at the beginning of this video, that's why I took so much time to get to this place. This video is about something very, very brutal, and no surprise, I was also accused of. Something I know is going to be used to decide about also Ukraine. This is about what Russians have together long time ago already, in 1971, 1972, when it all started, this stuff, planned together with the Germans, with the British, with absolutely everybody. Remember when I demonstrated those pressure, this machines for druk machine. It's a local car manufacturing company and all that stuff. You know, all these things, all these goodies that were arriving to the Eastern Europe out of nowhere. All of a sudden, Eastern Europe started to catch up the step with the West. Things started to turn really, really bright. They refer to me as a gold boy. It really looked very, very, very good for Yugoslavia, for the Russia. If it wasn't for Sergei Shoigu, if it wasn't for the Sergei Lavrov, if it wasn't for a pack of other politicians inside of the Moscow that would treat me like a dirt, like a shit, basically. Who knows how the hell this would turn? Maybe the Soviet Union would exist even today, or maybe it would be today the 1990. You know what I'm trying to say? Maybe the 1991, the fall of the Soviet Union never would even come, official fall of the Soviet Union. Soviet Union had fallen apart in 1989, but it took 2 years to Moscow to prepare itself officially for the fall of the Soviet Union. If it wasn't for the people like this, I never ever would have go and enforce the fall of the Soviet Union. Because of what went on during my childhood, left me with such a mark, with such a bruise. I told you that whatever was my size, I would go and humble in front of me. It was many times that it was too many that I couldn't humble, not even one, and I allowed them to humble me, rather. Finally, it was adult teachers that wanted to assault me. It was adult teachers like Anton Butcher who did attack me physically. But there's one thing I learned from it, and that's how I take the responsibility for what they threatened me during MK Ultra. If you will say, I am basically repeating stuff that police brainwashed, intimidated with during MK Ultra right now, except that I'm giving my own version, the way the things really were, and not the way they misinterpreted it, the way they lied about age all the time. They lied about absolutely everything. They were twisting and turning and going sideways and making their own stories, their own accounts. It was a lie after lie after lie after lie after lie. But in between this lie, different governments noted their accounts, and I'm certain that along the way, because they did discuss these issues, they did come to the certain terms. So the way this stuff was, when it all started like a baby, they treated me in Moscow, like I stated yesterday in the video. Whenever I would get there, they treated me like a dirt, basically. You would come, you would be kicked as a child, you would be assaulted, attacked, opposed to whenever, even in Eastern Germany, they would treat me like I was their baby. Like I started to see in adult German men fathers. This is basically how bad this whole shit was. That's how bad this stuff was. It was so bad that, and it was also German adults, they insisted they would want to adopt me and all kinds of stuff like this involved in it. But that did not play any role to me. You know, as I stated, at 2 years of age, I was a man on a mission at 2 years of age. And my principles were very, very simple, but extremely effective. And if you're a child and you're watching this, I always stay loyal to the principle which guided me through the life, that basically I sworn will continue to remain loyal to the truth, to myself. This is the truth. The truth is myself. Myself is the true. You say that you are the true, true is you. This is it. If you treat me good, I will treat you good. If you treat me bad, you're gonna get back. Many had a problem with these issues, but then again, many had a problems with absolutely all the issues. It's one thing when you sit inside of the office, scratch your ass, and it's another one when you find yourself in situations I was faced with daily. So I don't care really what anybody thought about me. I was strong enough, and I'm gonna say again, repeat after me, to take the struggle as it was, stand up for myself as much as I could, and defended the truth regardless of the costs, because whatever truth was not accessible yet was the truth that I did not know at age 2. Whatever I couldn't defend is simply something I couldn't defend. But whatever I could defend, I absolutely defended. And when the time came in my life, I'm not going to say that I paid back with the interest rate, but the memories on how it all started, the memories on how they enforced violence down on me, were the memories that powered me. It was not a resentment. It was just that whatever they were doing to me, what made them feel good about doing stuff to me, is whatever I saw, observed over the course of the time was important to them. And I observed this when I was already 2 years old. Those are the things I already observed when I was 2 years old about what went on. Very quickly, in a situation like this, child understands so quickly when he's faced with the dangers like this, that I possibly could not imagine it's possible, but it was. Whatever I determined it was of importance to them, it became extremely important to me to destroy, enforce destruction of that. So that violence, all that stuff they have taken for pride, for honor, well, in whatever they have seen themselves in, that I could see myself in whatever they never ever are gonna get from me again. So that's why I started to, I wanted to get like on a bank, like an interest rate for every problem they created to me. I started to enforce back in return. As I grew up once, it's like a 14 years old, not 14 years old, forget it, 11 years old. Russians who tortured me started to complain that it is impossible because, and they asked them, how is it impossible? They said, it's impossible because it was the same with the Russian language. I was picking up Russian language at early age, unbelievable, with unbelievable speed. You know, they said, if we were gonna do to him the stuff we did in the past, we have to tie him up. We have to tie him up to do the stuff like this. That's how much physically he resists. That was at age 11. I took a pride in basically enforcing destruction of the Soviet Union, despite everything that was done to me in Britain, and for what British perverts, I'm certain, have taken credit for. I'm certain what started with the idea to destroy me, they have taken credit for too, suggesting other side that it was them who blah 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 blah. You know, fact of the matter is, I'm not Prince Harry, who dressed himself as a neo-Nazi in 2020. And excuse me, when he was 20 years old. The year was, I don't know, 2005, whatever. I never was any of it. I absolutely never had anything to do with it. Fact of the matter is that I was without a place for what I hoped for. Would be any place in the West I could choose to be, have had turned into illusion once I applied for the political asylum, for the political protection. In more than a dozen countries, I was ridiculed and screwed in my back and almost killed in Canada and stuff like this. Do not appreciate stuff like that. Belgium and so on. I don't have anything to do with these people. Slovenian side, that's why I demonstrate you that soldier from Canada, and this Slovenian soldier, female, suggested me, I'm just going to take the two as an example, because to me this is a perfect example. Insisted to me that, well, you did so much bad stuff that I have to do this to help you out. And so everything that especially happened after the Soviet Union fall, enforced against me, apparently was done to assist me, to help me out. And one of the worst things they have rolled on my shoulders, and also on the shoulders of Angela Merkel, because this is the part I will take and demand status recognition of my being a politician at age 2. I will demand, I will enforce this. Whatever the police, Slovenian police warned me about, whatever the psychiatrist Peter Kapsch brainwashed, blah, 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 I am gonna all take credit for. And that includes what I was accused of, smuggling neo-Nazis from Eastern Germany to the Western Germany. I was accused, harassed under MK Ultra, but that's interesting because I knew nothing about when this shit went on. already when as my sister, Biserka Ausets, somewhat look alike like Angela Merkel. Stated to me that I'm no longer her brother, that I was warned about smuggling neo-Nazis from Eastern Germany to the Western Germany. This also applies to the Volodymyr Zelensky's visit to Canada with Trudeau. All these issues were involved in MK Ultra, and they knew they're gonna trigger the memories like this on this issue. So for me, it's very important to clarify today that I feel very good opposed to Angela Merkel, who stated that she will be gone, that I have to accuse her of smuggling Nazis. Yes, that I partnered with her, and it really was like this. The German government, I wanted them to know, I wanted the Germans to know that I am the one that is okay. We started to take subjects in the school about the Second World War, about what the Germans did, Italians what they did, the Japanese what they did, yes. And I started to have a regular policy, a regular procedure, which I would also enforce physically, with a physical fight if necessary, when drugged up under MK Ultra, about my being correct, righteous, about giving Germans the opportunity to sit with me inside Nazis, inside of the car, or put them inside of the trunk, and drive auf Wiedersehen across the border and let them go wherever they went. I don't know, Western Germany, America, wherever they went, Canada, whatever. Yeah, I feel good about this stuff. I never hide my my intentions from anybody. My sister, when I was I think I was like maybe 8 years old or something like that. I have to think about that stuff. Warned me about it at age probably 10, 11 was probably when she said to me that I no longer am her brother. What the fuck am I doing? That I'm destroying the legacy of my grandfather. Yeah, this stuff was involved in the Germany in MK Ultra. All this stuff was involved in MK Ultra, and I brutally enforced what became my policy without absolutely any kind of apology. Any Russian, Soviet that stated to me something in my face, the only thing it was during MK Ultra, something about Nazis or something like this, don't even dare. Don't even fucking dare to say to me something about me not having the right to do whatever the fuck I do under MK Ultra. You see, the thing is that I wasn't doing this shit. When I was 1.5 years of age, probably, if not one, I don't know. And they would bring me home, and 2 years, this what went on in front of our house, this is impossible to describe with the Serbian military, police and so on, Slovenian, and this. They would get us inside of these apartments, and it was, or in the school, Osnovna Škola Grm, after hours, drugged up, and it was beating, it was all kinds of shit. Way before I even got into the kindergarten, I knew the grammar school, what it looks like, Novo Mesto. When I came home from this shit, from this chaotic stuff, this screaming, this ultra violence, adults yelling, screaming, memory on this, on the children hurting one another and stuff like this. And I observed in front of my own house screaming and something irregular, stuff like this, for which my parents and my sister stated to me, if you will like this, and then it's going to be at our place also like this. I thought that I had like, it was worse than if you would plug me on, I don't know, on what I should say, ECT, electroconvulsive whatever therapy. It was painful fuck for me, this stuff, that I thought I'm gonna go insane. The first issue that stressed me out like a mouse completely, the most issue at the earlier age was when this shit started, cows at our house. When they said to me, they started to threaten me, if you would do this, it will be more and more this at our home, at our house too. And it was this young people from my sister she associated with, and so on and so forth, and so when I consider this kind of environment, when I consider this stuff, somebody trying, even maliciously, to justify with a World War II the crime that went on against me. And I have to remind you about these injections I received. When I consider the Miller machines inside of the Renault, when I consider the factories I built, when I consider all the technology Eastern Europe got, that rates itself basically from the dust, because for every fucking neo-Nazi, Soviet Union received God knows how much the fuck they received. Every neo-Nazi that went from Eastern Germany to wherever was approved by none other than Sergei Lavrov, by the Soviets, by the Ruskies, by the Russians, by the Josip Broz Tito. And that you're gonna go and you're gonna put my case, what I have gone, the stuff that I spoke to you about, that you're gonna go and you're gonna mix this with some kind of a World War II issues. Even search Angela Merkel in Germany right now, even search for excuse when it comes to, when you make a deal with a Sergei Lavrov, with a Putin, about my smuggling Nazis from Eastern Germany to Western Germany, what Angela Merkel would be accused of, and that's when she would step down and so on and so forth. She doesn't have to step down because of that. She did a lot of problems to me, I told you, with my teeth, what was done. The first thing what was done with my teeth, it was all disarrayed. Angela Merkel only had one teeth a little bit not in line. In 1995, 2000, Angela Merkel had all the teeth straight, only one teeth was not in line. That's me. I remember the stuff I'm talking about. That you're gonna go and you're gonna equal me with something that I have nothing to do with, that you build factories yourself, you authorize this stuff so that you could actually build extensive criminal file on somebody who was drugged up, on whom drugs under influence or heavy drugging since he was baby and was used for the human experimentation, injections with the growth hormone, all kinds of stuff torn apart, that you're gonna fucking go and you're gonna line me up, compare me with atrocities that took place 80 years ago, gesture me even, like we say in Slovenian language, it doesn't matter. Gesture, what I'm trying to say is like play filthy really suggests like, you know, you know, you dirty motherfucker, you just there to say, you know, you have to tell this, you know, we already have you and this and that, you know, like Vladimir Putin came up with the idea that everything that was done to me, they have done to me. He encouraged the Serbian children that wanted to compete with me, whether their parents made them crazy or others make them crazy, or they wanted, or they see in me whatever they saw in me, and they failed on how, you know, it was Slovenian system that destroyed them and such a stuff like this. Oh, come on, man. I proudly tell you, and I'm not going to only say this, I'm going to say that every neo-Nazi, understand? Every German Wehrmacht officer that I got into the trunk, or he sat next to us and drove through the border to Western Germany, whatever. Everyone, it wasn't only Germans, it was all kinds of Eastern European people and Ukrainian. I got to find out about this Ukrainian guy. Actually, I didn't even look into it. It was some involved in MK Ultra that I smuggled that were literally Nazi officers, for which, again, British suggested me. You remember when I stated earlier that Prince Harry wear himself a Nazi uniform and stuff like this? Sorry, man, but I don't see myself in you. You know, what you have committed is, I don't know how much you have realized, but what you have committed is something very, very bad. And I was not even in World War II. I didn't have anything with anybody in this world other than being drugged up, used and abused by you, your parents, for your special financial needs, global power, your national needs. I hope that every German, it doesn't matter whether he killed 100,000 people or 1 million people. If it was like this, I'm just stupid stuff is what I'm saying. There was nobody like this. But British Royal suggested that it was also the stuff like this that escaped to through the Western Germany, and there was also Russians insisted on this. They bark, whoa, 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 with this stuff. So they fill their pockets for everyone, whoever, whatever the fuck you got. I wish you a wonderful life. I wish you another 100 years of life, health, prosperity, fortune, all the best to you. I'm not your Wehrmacht soldier. I don't have anything to do with the World War II. You can call this World War X. Something that happened, that took place between the World War II and between the one in Ukraine, you see. Actually, Dagestan and Chechnya and all other wars that Russia committed with the neighbors. I have my own flag. I have my own history, I have my own identity. It truly is that my sister, Biserka Avsits, the honorable sister of mine, which religiously followed the steps of my grandfather, who, however, was at my age 4. First, I was given a warnings because of the chaotic violence that started to rage at our home. At age 2, we had all kinds of people that were becoming even earlier at age 1.5. There was this guy that was completely, I'm not gonna say blonde, but red hair, blondish guy. And I remember these people that would be coming, the old man, friend of my father. I think this guy was a judge or whatever. I remember this old man. I remember all this stuff. And the mother warned me that if you're gonna point the finger at the grandfather, that he is the one doing this stuff, that he will be gone, and they were using whatever they were doing for me to see grandfather on the picture. If the grandfather was not doing also crazy stuff, they raped him with alcohol. What I remember, my grandfather was a very peaceful man. His friends delivered a lot of alcohol. It was somebody who always delivered the alcohol. He did not want to drink alcohol, but this guy was sneaky. I told you, in the city where we were, all these people were coming from everywhere, including Josip Broz Tito had a brother in Novo Mesto. Josip Broz Tito drove me from Belgrade to many times, from Belgrade to Novo Mesto. I don't know if this brother was still alive or what the case was. I didn't get into this stuff. It was not on my interest yet to exploit this, to get more memories back about what went on. But Josip Tito was very familiarized with the Novo Mesto, and he liked Novo Mesto. He liked to take tour to Novo Mesto, which I'm not going to comment anything because of other issues. I didn't even have a feeling that I'm heading from Belgrade with Josip Broz Tito when this stuff took place, when this stuff was taking place. And that's probably because they made it even confidential, I would say, so that they would not know. It was the police cars that would go, and we would go along these cars, and this would more look like, well, actually, you know what, Josip Broz Tito did have always motorcade. There was always a police cars. There were always police cars with Josip Broz Tito. Sometimes, however, it would also be, I think, like maybe 2 cars. But when I would be driving with Josip Broz Tito, it would be militia. It would be the police. You know, it would be a company. It would be a company of cars. You know, sometimes, but sometimes. I'm trying to figure out this stuff. Sometimes I had a feeling it was just maybe even, you know, 2 police cars, you know, and those cars were not necessarily even marked as a police cars, even like this one. But what the regular procedure was between Belgrade and between Novo Mesto, if Tito was taking me back to Novo Mesto, there were 2 police stations along this highway toward Novo Mesto, where the police officers always, whenever, also if I would be transported, they would make sure that it would be their presence. That was in Croatia, basically, across Croatia, Slavonia. I have to see this shit on the map, all this stuff. Have to see this stuff yet. But if the Josip Broz Tito went, it was different. It would be all the police officers from these police stations, and also they would come from other police stations, and it would be along the road. You would see the police cars, and it would be like this, basically. They would guard, the highway. Whenever the Tito went, it was no joke. But I have a feeling that it was also like this, that he had the limousine, and sometimes Josip Broz Tito, he said, brzo, kad trebamo na brzo, whenever we have to go fast. If he had to go fast, he would take 2 cars, bodyguards, his car and 2 cars, and of course, you know, the police would be along the road. He would only give the command, arrange this with the police so that the road is secure and stuff like this, and it would go, basically. You have police officers with the machine guns and so on, ready to secure, basically, the perimeter. And so, what I want to say to you is, I don't have, the last thing I ever want to do in my life is go after my grandfather, but you know, what I stated to you when my mother said, just if you will say, they will, it was, you know, he will have him, they will have him removed. You know, if you wanna fucking wanted him to removed from the home, which I absolutely never did. I loved my grandfather, something that my sister Biserka Ausitz hated. She, based already from my grandfather's experience, totally fucking hated me. She lied about my not liking grandfather. My mother lied about as a matter of fact, it was the father who came from the job. He spoke to me and made me feel like that now he will go and he will make sure that a grandfather is gone. That I have to talk to him, that I have to tell him. But he was taking a days off. He was taking a days off with the police. And they intimidated and they harassed and they make him drunk. Harass me, intimidate me, so they could produce the desired outcome, because they did not want to have him inside of the house. And my father stated to me, my loving father, who has a severe case of dementia, and is like this. Like this is like this. I don't know. This is a tree, and there is a rabbit on the tree, basically. And in between this shit is whatever he was doing with the police to me during MK Ultra. Admitted that if I ever gonna point out what I stated here right now, he's gonna get the jail, he's never gonna come out. That's gonna be basically the end of it. Clearly saw himself as a murderer. Upon the removal of my grandfather, who was killed very soon after that. I was the one who did, as my sister claimed, exactly the opposite of what my grandfather did, because my grandfather was the one from National Resistance who supplied troops during the World War II with the medications, stolen medications from Germans, basically used his credentials, which he earned in the First World War II, on the Sorrento front and on the Isonzo front with the Italians, and on the Eastern front with the Russians, to steal medications during the World War II as a secretary of the city of the Novo Mesto, and supplied them to the partisans. The man that every Russian Red Army general, officer, president wanted to shake hand with, see one, meet one. Everybody in Belgrade knew him. That I was doing exactly the opposite, and I went and I saved the Nazis, basically. It's this motherfucker Slovenian character criminal, this Trobec, you know, this Trobec Štefančić was talking about when I was a kid. That he saw in me this, because I wanted, the independent states, something murders about it, you know, something hidden about it, something inside that you just don't know what you're dealing with and so on. That's motherfuckers, that applies to you. You know who enforced this shit? Slovenian DNA, Slovenian nation did. All this shit, all this stuff, this fucking Slovenian Russian flag, I fucking hate one. More than I hate the Russian one. That's the one that enforced the crime against me, and foremost against the first family casualty that pertained to this MK Ultra case, which was my grandfather, whom my father murdered. With the mother, with the sister, they murdered him. This is the way it is, this is the way it was. My sister is dying too. She has a cancer. According to MK Ultra, she's dying. The guy who tortured her all the time, Drago Dobrovec, turned into a baby. Oh, he's a bigger guy than myself. And now he's like this. And he's inside of the home for elderly people. I saw him yesterday. His wife delivered him, left him for throughout the day. In 2000 and beginning of 2017, they started to do that stuff. When they couldn't silence me anymore about MK Ultra. You know what I mean? I would be inside of the car, they would drive me, drop him off, and they would be asking that they're gonna have to be doing this kind of stuff if I'm gonna be talking about talking about fucking what? Talking about fucking what? About maybe what kind of food? Canadian soldiers and Slovenian soldiers eat together maybe? Because that's what I was told, that the Slovenian girl claimed me that she's gonna be doing this stuff for me, to basically apologize me in front of the international audience because of the stuff I did. Well, you know what? Fuck you. I'm not ashamed. I'm proud about absolutely everything I did. I am so proud, like I never ever was. You know what my father stated me in respect to my grandfather? My father stated me in respect to my grandfather. He stated, and I don't want nothing bad to my father, because my father is internee of his own lunacy. I feel sorry for him. Nobody was more violent in MK Ultra than my father. My father outweighed everybody in MK Ultra. He acted completely insane. He raged, he drowned in he wasn't saving me. When we moved to the house here in this, from the city and the village, which he claimed needs to run away from it all, he told me, this is not your home. Don't get used to it. You're not going to be here, you understand, basically. In the kitchen, when we ate the meal, one of the first meals, this was the welcome to the new house. You know what my father told me when he destroyed my grandfather? He told me, well, he said, this time I did the favor to you. I took him. The next time, if I don't see you're doing well, you're doing what you're supposed to, it's gonna be you I'm gonna destroy. And he really did. He really did. In 2013, he managed, with lies, with the people who assisted him killing my grandfather, on whom they swear oaths, on whom they demanded from me to give up on his medals he earned during the World War II by saving God knows how many people, hundreds of people. that much about all this stuff here, about the smuggling of the Nazis from Eastern Germany to the Western Germany. I don't see myself in any goofy fuck such as Prince Harry. I don't see myself in any of that stuff. I ain't got nothing to do with it. And these people have nothing to do with it other than causing me harm, damage, ruining my life for the sake of the money, which I never even wanted. In real life, I never wanted any harm to these people. I protected them. I did my best I possibly could for them. And they couldn't resist to the fucking banknotes. And these banknotes went on together with attempt to harm, to injure, to get me destroyed, to get me killed through the merciless torture which British royals have enforced against me. It's becoming more and more obvious. Since the day, I remember, when I was 2 years old, Sergei Shoigu, Prince Andrew, Charles, Prince Philip, Shoigu, as well as mine, you know, waste me basically, to get me to waste, basically to destroy me, to torture me. He's destined for the waste. It's not going to be nothing out of him anyways. Just go and destroy. So if this is what Vladimir Putin have hoped for, then you got the truth. You destroyed my grandfather. I was 4 years old when my grandfather was murdered, transported to the Maribor city. My grandfather, Josip Broz Tito, was nothing next to my grandfather. And your people got him murdered and tried to charge me with smuggling Nazis and so on and so forth. Well, I did whatever the hell I could to terminate Soviet beast, because of the principle I already told you earlier. Whatever I was not capable to do at the time, stand up against. Number one, because I did not know what I'm dealing with, whom I'm dealing with. I was very intelligent as a child. God gave me some kind of heavenly patience, the ability to scan, examine properly, evaluate everything about what went on. Yeah, you're gonna ask me now, why didn't you do this before already? Because this is a completely different world I'm in right now. Because I started this complaint in 2006, and I believed it's going to be finished maximum in 5 years when I started one, that I will swim out. And the only thing that happened was it was like I started to fall inside of the like you fall in some kind of a hole without the bottom, and you keep falling and falling and falling. Well, that was 2007. I started in 2007. In 2006 I started. That was almost 18 years ago, 17 years ago. If you have time to throw away 17 years ago for one single fucking complaint and spend time jobless, with being poisoned and all kinds of stuff enforced against you, psychiatry. You want to stand up to psychiatry, you want the fight, the combat with the psychiatry, with the police, with the entire state, judiciary system, with every fucking lawyer in the country. Then you can go and you can do that stuff. And that's probably, maybe, if you're a child and you're watching this stuff, the best characteristic about me is the pain-killing patience. It's not the patience, but it's a work ethic. It's a motto basically that once you're stuck in it, you keep digging and digging and digging and digging till you come out, or you don't come out basically. Sometimes in life it's like this. If the thing's done like this, don't hesitate, keep going as far as you can get. Or, you know, this is basically just the way it is. I learned this, maybe there was something that I learned from the British. I learned from the British, who tortured mercilessly at my age too. I think it was more for envy than anything else, so they could interpret the success to others, to the Germans and so on. I was a tutor of the Germans, all the German presidents, ministers, everything. It was just like I told you earlier. There was a time in my life during MK Ultra when Prime Minister was a very small fish. When you would step in front of me and I would ask you, who are you, what are you? And if you said you're a Prime Minister or whatever, it was not necessarily a good thing, basically, because I knew just how much I have changed, shaped this world in a definitely better way. Soviet Union was as evil as it gets. You know what? Nothing is more evil than a rotten character of the human or the nation. The ethics itself, which in my case have proven are beyond disgusting when it comes to Slovenia and when it comes to Soviet Union, Russia I should say, Serbia. That you go and you do something like this with a human being, that you experiment on a human, you butcher the human being, you do all that kind of stuff you do, and you use him for the war operations, all kinds of stuff like this. And throw him inside a psychiatric hospital, accuse him that he's mentally ill and so on. The rest of the world drowned in what turned into the British corruption. I hope the world can swim out of the corruption, because the second to the Soviet threat are British. Exactly due to what I said. Thanks for watching this video. Till next time, auf Wiedersehen. I don't know, based on what I stated in respect to Angela Merkel, I don't have anything in common with Angela Merkel. Angela Merkel is a politician that was right out on a light, that was, oh yes I do, unfortunately I do. Yeah, unfortunately I do, I have to be honest, I do. I already figured out all this morning, you know, before I headed out. I do have to do with Angela Merkel. I was gonna say, just let myself out of all this. But the thing about it is, I was the one who did convince Angela Merkel to also smuggle Nazis. If I did not convince one, and I know that what I stated to you is just the way it is, I was the one who demanded from her to put on the list as next to take out of, because it was like this, they did once, and then I started to insist to her, because I got reprimanded. They reprimanded me during MK Ultra about smuggling Nazis and so on and stuff like this. I told Angela Merkel to make sure I had no, they demonstrated to me a few of them, but all in all, these are just the people. I feel good about taking people out of the Soviet system. I would take anybody from the Soviet Union. I would let the whole Soviet Union free. Basically, I will let them out. From what went on in Moscow and all that stuff, and